Welcome to Your Mac Life for Wednesday, December the 6th, 2017. I am your host, Shawn King. Thank you guys very much for joining me here on this Wednesday evening. In a moment, we'll get our co-host on the show, Melissa, who is still messing with her microphone.
I'm gonna hold it.
For no, you can't just hold. What have you done?
No. It just happened.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
Take the microphone. Take the microphone. Stop. Take the microphone out of the holder, and then screw it in that way.
Continue on, please.
Jesus. You all watch Melissa mess with the microphone. On tonight.
Really fucked me up.
I don't know if you heard that, but she said just being married to Shawn has really fucked me up. It's been 3 days.
I slept for like 3 hours the next day.
Oh my Lord. Oh, God. Anyway, on tonight's show, we'll talk to our good friend Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com about the Apple year-end review. What went well this year in Apple? What went poorly with Apple? We'll talk to him about that. We'll talk to you guys about that. What were your high points for Apple for the year 2017? Send me emails to Shawn at yourmaclifeshow.com or on air at yourmaclifeshow.com. I also want to send out a reminder, as always, this time of year, if you're doing your Amazon.com shopping, please come to our website, yourmaclifeshow.com. Click on any one of the links you see there on the left-hand side. And when you buy something in that session, now, it doesn't have to be that thing that you clicked on. When you buy something, we get a bit of a kickback. So we always appreciate that if you would shop through us with Amazon.com. Or if you're one of those smart people who can remember this stuff, at the end of any Amazon URL, you can do /yourmaclife-20. That's our Amazon code. So you can always do that if you so choose. We're also going to be talking on tonight's show about, well, tonight, this evening, is the last show of 2017. Normally we wait until the last Wednesday before Christmas, but because that lovely young lady and I, by the way, I've forgotten. I'm so sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you Mrs. Shawn King.
Oh, Mrs. King.
Mrs. Melissa. Well, Mrs. Shawn King or Mrs. Melissa King?
No, Mrs. Shawn King is good.
I
I'm an old-fashioned girl.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Old-fashioned girl. That's guys, that's my new wife. I don't know if people realize this. That's the new wife.
This is me.
That's the best wife ever. Ever. We got married this Saturday. And in less than 48 hours, we are both, along with the two young boys, jetting off to Newcastle, Australia to go visit Melissa's family. She hasn't seen her family in 18 years.
18 years.
18 years she hasn't seen family, including her brother and all kinds of other relatives. And I'm really looking forward to being in Australia. I'm not looking forward to getting to Australia.
No.
Looking forward to being there. So show folks the look. There's the wedding ring. There you go. Oh, you got to do the fancy way. All right, fine.
Yeah.
We had a little quiet ceremony right here in the house, which is lovely, attended by her friend Giddy, who's also from Australia, and both sons, which was very, very nice. I like that.
Both cats?
And both cats are here too. And so, but then we're going to have a bigger Australian ceremony on December 23rd. And while I didn't forget pants at this ceremony, both Melissa and I, want to make that clear.
Oh, yeah.
Both of us. Now, I don't know when it happened for her, but I realized for me, moments after the officiant started to speak, I thought to myself, shit, I don't have the rings.
Me too. I was thinking, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? Is there going to be a gap in this so I can run off and get it?
And I was thinking, what happens if we have to stop the ceremony and go get does that mean start over?
Yeah.
I had no idea, but yeah, the big doofus struck both of us.
Yes.
And we both forgot our wedding rings.
I forget. Did I run off and get yours and you ran? Or did we do it? Okay.
And we went off together to get our wedding rings. It was just hilarious.
That's so silly.
Just absolutely.
I'm kind of glad that happened.
So yeah, we fly off on Friday to Australia and then spend 3 weeks in Australia. We've already got a bunch of stuff planned for the boys. We're going to be going, not for the boys. I'm sorry.
You're such a liar.
I can't lie. We've got stuff planned for the boys. We're doing a jet boat ride in Sydney Harbor. We're going to go on a Sydney Harbor Ferris wheel. We are going to go quad bike riding in Newcastle. Going to a bunch of stuff but there's a zoo in downtown Sydney. That zoo, as I'm pretty sure mandatory in all Australian zoos, has a koala. By the way, it's not a koala bear, as I've been corrected many, many times. It's just a koala. And the zoo offers breakfast with koalas, where you can feed koalas. And I'm not 100% sure, you should be able to pet them, at least touch them. Swear to God, kids, the only thing I want to do in Australia is touch a koala bear. I don't know why. Since I've been a little kid, I've always wanted to touch a koala bear. I don't know where that comes from.
I don't know.
But I'm just dying to do that.
You think it's going to be soft and fluffy or wiry?
I've heard they're very, very soft. I heard they're like teddy. Have you ever touched?
No.
No, really?
I don't think I have.
You've never touched a koala bear? Koala, sorry?
I don't think I have.
Well, that's great. That'd be two of us.
Yeah. So I remember the first time I saw one in the wild, I cried because he had a spider web growing over his nose because they move so slowly, right? So this spider web growing over his nose.
They have them in the wild?
Yes, they have them in the wild. They're wild animals. They piss on you. Actually, it's true. They will.
Wait, what?
Don't worry. Oh, yes, penguins. You have to...
No. Back up to this koala pissing on me thing.
Well, I don't know what
Why is a koala going to piss on me?
I don't know. Maybe if he needs to piss at the time, what's he going to do?
That's disgusting.
I know. Ask him to put a diaper on him.
And then the following morning... and then we're also going to be taking the boys and going to the aquarium where we'll do a shark feeding thing. They have a glass bottom boat, and the boys will be able to feed sharks. It'll be very cool. So
yeah,
be lots of fun stuff.
What about the penguins?
The aquarium has a little boat ride that you can go through the penguin exhibit.
Right.
So we'll be able to see penguins. We're not going for a walk with the penguins. We're not doing that stuff. Can't afford it. It's too expensive. But we'll see penguins. I'm okay with just seeing. As much as I love penguins, I don't need to touch a penguin. I'd like to. I'd certainly like to pet a penguin.
We should go up and say, listen, we're just married here in Australia.
I have a penguin fetish.
Yeah,
Can I touch
Shawn
your
has a penguin fetish.
Yeah, see, they're not going to let me do that as soon as I say that.
We could take pictures of all your penguins. They just might.
Where's it going with that?
I know.
Oh, and so the other thing is, in our starting point photography segment, thanks to my wonderful, lovely, beautiful bride, who is, by the way, now on my phone. I didn't realize live. Look at this. This is so cute. Look at this. Isn't that the cutest thing in the world? My live photo screen is my lovely wife just being so lovely. She's so cute. So we're going to talk about the camera I will or will not be bringing to Australia. There's still time for me to reconsider, but I have the iPhone 10. Melissa has an iPhone 6 Plus. I have a Olympus OMD M1, and I have my beloved Nikon D600. Which camera or cameras should I take to Australia is what we're going to talk about in the starting point photography segment on tonight's show. We've got a bunch of videos sent in from you guys for the Christmas video or the Hanukkah video, the holiday greeting video. Please send us yours if you haven't already. It doesn't matter whether it's in portrait mode or landscape mode. Just send us the video. Tell me your name, where you live, and a holiday greeting in whatever language you would like. Do it in Klingon if you want to. Send it to me at Shawn at yourmaclifeshow.com. I want to get a bunch of these to put them together, so we'll post them up on the website just before Christmas. And if you want to keep track of Melissa and I on our excellent Australian adventure, send me an email to Shawn at yourmaclifeshow.com. What I'm going to do is I'll put your name on a mailing list, and that way you don't got to follow me on Twitter, because as everyone knows, I'm a pain in the ass on Twitter. You don't want to follow. Melissa doesn't follow me on Twitter. Okay? That's how big a pain in the ass I am on Twitter.
Well, I'm not even on Twitter.
She quit Twitter so she wouldn't have to follow me.
No, I didn't.
That's exactly why you quit Twitter. You got mad at me and quit Twitter. So, yeah, don't follow me on Twitter. And And I'm not going to follow you on Facebook. So that's the two best ways to do it. So what are you looking at me like that for?
That is just so childish.
Why is
Anyway,
it childish?
MacMan says that monkeys throw their poop. That's way worse than a koala peeing on you.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know why? Because Facebook is, in my mind, for me personally, Facebook is for family and friends I have met.
I agree.
Twitter is for complete strangers who I've never met and never will meet.
This is very true.
But for me, Facebook is for. Again,
I do it for family.
Yeah.
Yep.
For me, it's family and friends. So yeah, and so what I'll be doing is I'll be posting stuff probably to Diary of a Madman, DOAMM.com. That will be where we'll post videos and things like that. So you can either check that website, DOAMM.com, or you can join the mailing list and I'll send off updates of what we're doing, hopefully on a regular basis. There won't be any shows from tonight until January 3rd. So don't come back here next Wednesday looking for a show. Just because it's just too hard. I don't know about the internet access. I don't know about any of that stuff. I can't just be enough to be done that we're not going to be able to do a full show. We'll try to do some audio. We'll do some stuff in video and pictures. Hopefully that will tide you guys over until the new year, 2017. If you haven't had a chance yet, I encourage you guys to go to the Loop, loopinsight.com. Right there on the front page, somewhere on the front page, there's going to be a story that I posted about today is the 100th anniversary of the Halifax explosion. My hometown is Halifax, a town I love dearly. 100 years ago today, 2 ships collided in the harbor, and it is to this day still the largest non-nuclear man-made explosion ever. One of the ships was a munition ship. It crashed into or was collided with a Belgian relief ship, the Mont Blanc and the Emo. The ships burned, and unfortunately, they didn't explode instantly. The the Mont Blanc caught fire and floated towards the Halifax side of the harbor because the crew had jumped overboard because the crew knew it was a munition ship. This was during World War I. And people came down to the harbor to see the burning ship. Well, unfortunately, that ship was carrying 2,500 tons of high explosives. Shortly after 9 o'clock, when the ship exploded, killed 2,000 people instantly. 9,000 people were badly hurt. The explosion was heard in Truro, Nova Scotia, 60 miles away, and felt in Boston as an earthquake in Boston. There's a piece of the Mont Blanc's anchor that was found 4.5 miles away. That was the force of the explosion. The people of the world, actually, but all over Canada, and in particular the people of Boston, Massachusetts, were incredibly kind to Haligonians. They sent doctors and nurses and blankets and supplies. And to this day, for those of you who are in the Massachusetts area, the Christmas tree that is put up in the Boston Common every year, the official tree of the city of Boston, is a tree donated by the people of Nova Scotia to the people of Boston in recognition of their kindness during that awful time in Halifax's history. And in Nova Scotia, I don't know if Bostonians know this about the tree, but in Nova Scotia, this is a big deal. It's on television. If your tree gets cut down, if you're one of the farmers whose tree gets cut down, it's a 40 to 50 foot tall tree. It's a big honor. It's televised on the news. The tree is cut down and then has a police escort into the city where there's a ceremony when it gets loaded onto a flatbed truck, and then that truck goes to Boston, and then the ceremony when the tree gets raised and lit in Boston is also shown on Halifax TV. It's really, really cool. It's really a wonderful sign of the people of Halifax thanking the people of Boston. So go to loopinsight.com, or go to cbc.com, cbc.ca, and they'll have stories about it there. So check that out if you get a chance. Later on in the show, we're going to be talking about what camera should I bring to Australia with me. But up next, we're going to talk to our good friend Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com. This is your Mac Life. Welcome back, folks. This is Your Mac Life. I am Shawn King. And our phone now, we've got our good friend Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com. Jim, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Let me go out in the parking lot.
Yes, please. Folks, how is Jim's audio? It sounds low to me. If I can't bump it up a little bit on my end. Yeah, quiet. Okay, thank you. See if that's a little bit better for Jim. As usual,
that better?
That's better, yeah. As usual, folks, Jim's at a bar. Logan says hi. So this will be the last chance I get to do this. Merry Christmas. You got any plans for Christmas there in sunny California?
I'm going to stay under the bridge and hide.
Well, that sounds fair. That sounds like not a bad plan. And hopefully the weather will be good for you. It'll be warm, so you'll be warm and dry for the holidays.
Yeah, well, I moved back to my regular bridge.
Yeah, I was wondering I thought they had fixed the water problem that you were having. That's good.
Yeah. I moved back to my regular bridge this week, so that was not that I had a whole lot to bring. I mean, everything's in the shopping cart, so you know.
And hopefully the as MacMan says, your bridge isn't on fire yet, is it?
No. I'm good.
That's pretty nasty
I
down
mean,
there.
it would be pretty ironic to go from a water problem to a fire.
Isn't it just kind of ironic that Rupert Murdoch's estate is burning down?
You know.
I think it's a message from God.
Yeah, there's something going on.
There's got to be something going on. So this is kind of our year-end review when it comes to Apple and Macintosh and the company itself. Overall, do you think Apple had a good year or a bad year, a great year or a terrible year? What are your thoughts overall on Apple?
I think, oh boy, it was between good and great.
Yeah.
I think this year. I mean, they had a lot of great products. iPhone 10, I think, would be what made it between good and great.
Yep.
iPhone 8 would be good. iPhone 10 is great. You know, the Mac stuff that they have is I mean, if the iMac Pro comes, that would be great. I think they had a really great WWDC.
Yeah.
There's nothing that I can see that was terrible. I mean, if you're going to look for something bad, probably availability of AirPods
Yep.
might have been bad. But as far as, you know, if you look at, are there any products that they released that were terrible? No.
Yep.
Did they have any major, you know, security or privacy things, considering how important that is to Apple? No. So, I'd put it between good and great.
Yeah, I think they had a couple of minor, in the grand scheme of things, glitches. They were major to those folks who were affected by it, but I think that mostly the software issues they've had over the past 2 or 3 weeks have been relatively minor. I think HomePod not being released is an embarrassment, but I don't think it's going to be a huge embarrassment for them.
I don't agree with you there.
Yeah.
I think it's more of a problem where they could have sold more things for the holiday quarter. I don't think it's going to be a problem though, because they released the iPhone 10 for the holiday quarter. Yeah. So, you know, releasing the HomePod in, let's just make some assumptions here. Let's say they release the HomePod in the first quarter of 2018, then that will boost that quarter up.
Yep.
You know, so what would be an embarrassment to me is if they released the HomePod and it didn't work.
Yeah.
That would be an embarrassment. That's what would bring the whole thing come crashing down, you know. Because Apple doesn't release products that aren't ready. If this isn't ready, and I said this in the post, if it's not ready, don't release it.
Yeah.
Hold off. You know, whatever. I'm good.
But I think that, and this is only from what I've heard from other people, no one who's directly affiliated with the manufacturer or the production of the HomePod, Apple's reconfiguring the HomePod. to be not less, to be just as good of a music stereo speaker, but more of the Siri-capable speaker. Apple sort of pushed to the sides our questions and our wants and needs that we want the HomePod to compete directly with the Amazon Echo and the Google Home and those kinds of devices. I think Apple is reconfiguring the HomePod for it to be more of a competitor. Still a great music speaker, still a great stereo home stereo speaker, but for it to do more software-wise, and that's what caused the delay.
Well, I don't know that they're going to be able to do a lot. So one of the things that Apple has going for it and has for years is that they own the whole widget.
Yes.
You remember that saying, they own the whole widget. And people that listen to this show will certainly remember the whole hardware software thing, and that Apple was able to maintain ownership of everything.
Yep.
Well, I saw a commercial on TV the other night because Bob, the guy next to me, he's 2 girders down in the bridge. He stole a TV, and I heard this commercial about the Google Home.
Yeah.
And it was, it was the Google Mini. And they said, for people that don't know, in the Bay Area at least, they have Google Express.
Yes.
And Google Express is a shopping service that Google provides.
Yeah.
And you pay a certain amount, and you go on this app, Google Express app, and you order things that you want from a variety of different stores.
Yep.
And they will deliver it to your door. And it's the most wonderful service ever in the world. And I saw somebody say, Google add, I don't know, like paper towels to my cart.
Yep.
And it did. And then somebody else said, add this to my cart. And it did. I mean, Apple's not going to be able to compete with that, but those are real world type things.
Yep.
That you would want to be able to do. You realize, oh my God, I'm getting low on paper towels. Do you write it on a list? No, you just say, whatever that saying is, hey, Google or whatever,
Yep.
Add this to my cart from, and they actually said from the particular store that they wanted it from.
Wow. That's cool.
And it did. So the people in the commercial said, add paper towels from Walmart to my cart. And it said, okay, added. Add this to my cart from, whatever other store.
Yep.
Okay, added. And when you process that order, Google's going to come and deliver your stuff to you. How does Apple compete with that?
Yeah.
I mean, from what we know of Siri, I can ask Siri for any number of things, and it comes back and says, this is what I found on the web.
Yep.
Well, I'm sorry. No, that's not going to cut it.
Yep.
So if Siri can't do that on the iPhone or the watch, how is Apple going to compete with something like Google to be able to compete with? I don't know the answer to that, but I don't know if it's actually possible because Google owns that widget.
Yep.
And shopping, especially in the Bay Area where Google Express is available, and I'm sorry, I don't know where else it's available, but I know it's huge here. What else are you going to do?
Yeah.
So
I think there's 2 completely separate markets for these kinds of speakers. There's that market that you're talking about, but there's also the sound market too. People who want good quality, whether it be computer speakers or home stereo speakers, or just music speakers. I think that's where Apple can save itself by doing Siri, the same sort of Siri stuff you can do on the phone, but providing a better music speaker and staying away from all of that sort of sales stuff.
Okay. So I am probably one of the few people that have actually heard the HomePod play music.
Yep.
And it was amazing.
Yeah.
It was truly amazing. Would I get a HomePod and and have that play music in my house? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, it was truly a great speaker. I didn't get to hear the Siri functionality in that speaker at that time, and this was WDC, so June, so I didn't get to hear that. But I don't know, besides play, hard rock, what else would they need Siri to do as far as music is concerned? You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know what else they would want it to do. If they are truly working on Siri for the HomePod, what is it that they're trying to get it to do?
Yeah,
they
yeah.
can't get it to do like Google Express. This is what I'm saying with this. I mean, Google owns that widget.
Yep.
So they can't do that. So, and they seemingly, they can't get Siri to answer queries that Siri said, well, here's what I found on the web. And I said, because I had too much to drink at that point and I couldn't see. So, so I went to the Google app on my phone and I asked the same question. When did Zakk Wylde join Ozzy Osbourne?
Yep.
And it not only found it, it read it to me and said, Zakk Wylde followed Randy Rhoads and Jakey Lee and joined Ozzy Osbourne in this year. And it was great. And so I just held it up and everybody listened and there's the answer.
Yep.
I mean, it seems like a very simple question. I get that it's not. It's kind of, a weird out in left field type question.
Yep.
But Google was able to answer it. Siri wasn't.
Yeah, exactly. That's the kind of stuff that really makes me not use Siri very often. I use it for setting timers and setting reminders. But every time I try to ask that kind of stuff, and I'm a trivia maniac. I'm always thinking up and wondering about little stupid tidbits of information. So for me, that's exactly what I want Siri to do. Siri, what's the tallest building in the world? And, that kind of stuff. And maybe she can answer that, but a lot of times I get what you get is that Siri hasn't. This is what I found on the web. No, don't tell me what you found on the web. And that's not even including for me, the speech recognition is often not very good, even in a perfectly quiet environment.
I find the speech recognition, and this is bizarre, but I find the speech recognition for dictating a text very, very good.
Yeah.
Very good. I mean, it's bang on like 99% of the time. But if I ask Siri something, it's changing stuff and doing things, and I don't know what the difference is, but it's just kind of weird.
What else good, bad, indifferent for Apple? I think the iPhone 10 is going to be the complete blowout hit, but I think the Apple Watch 3 and AirPods are probably up there when it comes to things under the tree this Christmas.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, iPhone 10 certainly, AirPods. I mean, as far as announcements go, I think the iMac Pro would have to be up there as well, just because of the power that thing has. I mean, they blew people out of the water at WDC with that machine. Now, it hasn't seen the light of day, and we don't know when it's going to be released.
Yeah.
But, I mean, really, that was a great, great machine. So, yeah, I think those are the winners for sure.
But the problem with the iMac Pro is that the market for that machine is got to be significantly smaller than what it would have been 5 years ago, maybe even 2 years or even a year ago. That fewer and fewer people need that kind of power in their desktop machine, right?
Well, I don't know about that. I think that the people that need that kind of power are probably the same. And what's interesting is that the people that need that type of power are probably now working more remotely than what they were before, just because of the way that the economy is and the way that we've that the industry has changed. So, you know, in the music industry, a lot of people are doing things in remote locations, whether that's at home or, you know, a remote office or whatever. They still need a powerful machine.
Sure.
They're just not in a studio anymore.
Yeah.
You know, so that kind of stuff is, it's still there. There's still a need for it. You're just not doing it where you used to.
I think the big thing for next year for Apple that I don't think we're seeing a lot of yet, we're seeing hints and teases of it, is the next version of the Apple Watch and what it's going to do. I have this sense the next version of the Apple Watch is going to do things that's going to blow us away. Apple keeps sort of teasing this health device kind of aspect to it. This thing that will help us be and get healthier. And for some reason, just from talking to some folks that I know at Apple, they're not telling me anything concrete, but they have a real sense that that's going to be a big push in 2018 of Apple using the Apple Watch to help us be much, much more healthy in a proactive way than we are now. A lot of it's very reactive. I see the rings, I want to close the ring, so I'll start walking some more. Or I do things and the watch records those things. I get a real sense that Apple's moving towards this, we're going to tell you to do things, or we're going to help you do the things that you want to do with the Apple Watch. Do you think that I'm even slightly right on that?
Well, I think the thing that we need to remember about Apple Watch, and yes, I do think that you're right, but I think what we do need to remember is that Apple is still finding out where the Apple Watch is.
Yeah.
You know, and the fitness health aspect of it seems to be the one thing that is really coming to the fore. And they're grabbing onto that, and in a big way.
Yep.
I mean, they're working with some of the biggest colleges in the U.S.
Yep.
and doing these studies and all of this kind of stuff. So I think it's probably going to be a few more years before we actually figure out where Apple Watch lands.
Yep.
But as a wearable device, I mean, it's done some amazing things. A couple of years out of the gate, it's done some amazing things. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised with anything that Apple did with Watch.
You posted a story on The Loop that yesterday Apple buys a podcast search engine company, and you said it'll be interesting to see what Apple does with this technology to help out its service. You think that's going to come to the fore in 2018?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, everybody these days has a podcast.
Yep.
And, you know, what I think is going to be important for people is to be able to find the ones that they're looking for the most. I mean, there are like video blogs, and there are everything on YouTube. There are podcasts. There are all these things. Now, there are times when you can't watch video. Driving, a lot of people say that they listen to my podcast and probably yours while they're driving to work and back again.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, you know, you don't want a video one when you're doing that.
Yep.
So it's going to be, I really do think that it's going to be interesting to see how Apple implements this technology.
Yeah.
Because in a purchase like this, That's exactly what they're doing.
Yep.
They're not buying a company. They're buying technology because there's something there that they don't have. The trick is to figure out what is it that they have. It could be something so simple that they don't have, that this company has a patent on, or this company, is able to do better than anybody else, and they want to see that expanded in iTunes to be able to find the right podcast, or to be able to highlight podcasts.
Yeah.
That's what we have to wait and see. But all of a sudden, you're going to see, wow.
Yeah.
I was looking for a podcast about tech, and Shawn's podcast came up.
Yep. And I think even more interesting is that you'll be able to search inside a podcast. So, hey, when did Shawn start talking to Jim? And you'll be able to search that and find that spot in the podcast rather than having listened to drivel on beforehand.
And then skip that section.
That's right, exactly. I love the comment someone posted on the Loop. Chucko says, "I was wondering how Apple would get back at Marco."
Yeah,
I think it's not why they're doing this, but it is kind of funny. Yeah, these kinds of purchases by Apple always fascinate me because they're small companies that are doing one or two really interesting tech things that we may not even understand, but Apple buys them, and then a year or 18 months down the road, this new technology pops up in some sort of Apple device, and it's a direct link back to that purchase they made 2 years ago. So this will come some way in the next year and a half.
And what you'll see is at a WDC, they'll say, "Oh yeah, and now you'll be able to do this with podcasts when you search," and then they'll move on to something else. Well, that's because of all the money that they spent on this company.
Yep, exactly.
And that's great.
But as Monty sort of inadvertently says in the IRC, he said if they want a podcast search widget and some other companies already created that widget, why not just buy that company? But what that means is that Apple is still, at whatever level, focused on podcasts, that they're not ignoring them, they're not pushing them to the wayside, that Apple still thinks there's some sort of value there, either for its customers or for developers, that they're willing to spend the money on this kind of technology. So I think it's a good sign for podcaster producers and podcast listeners in the future.
Well, and let's not forget that there were reports, I think it was last year, maybe even the year before, where Apple brought in some of the biggest podcasters in the industry and said, what is it we're not doing for you?
That's right.
So, it took them that long to parse all that information and say, okay, we need to buy this company and, go from there.
And how does what the podcaster producer said to us fit into our plans? They're not just going to do this stuff just because some podcaster says he wants this feature. They're going to do it because it fits in with what Apple wants to do as a company.
Right.
Folks, we've been talking to Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com. You haven't had a chance. Jim and I had a great conversation about the iPhone 10 and photography on the Dalrymple Report last week, so do a search on iTunes for that. Or go to The Loop at loopinsight.com and do a search for the Dalrymple Report, and it will come up. This is our last show of the year, Jim, so I want to wish you and yours, your family, and all the boys under the bridge a very happy Thanksgiving. Very happy Christmas and a wonderful New Year, and we shall see you in January.
Bob, stop clapping. Stop clapping. He's not talking to you. No, Shawn, it's been a great year, and you never told me, but you get married last weekend.
I did.
You never told me that, and I actually don't know what to think about that. That you never told me, but congratulations on getting married.
Thank you.
And I am very sorry for her. Hopefully someday I'll meet her, and I can get her some help. There's help. There's help available for every kind of problem.
Such a
she clearly has one. I'm sure she's a great woman, but Yeah,
Are you
and now you're going away.
Yes, I'm going to visit her family in Australia.
Oh, they're gonna hate you.
Well, I wouldn't blame them. I'm okay with that. It's not
Well,
that big a
yeah.
deal to
I
me.
mean, does she know that they're gonna hate you, or?
No, she thinks they're going to love me. I think that's going to be the biggest disappointment for her of the whole trip.
Do they know that you got married already?
Yes, we're having another ceremony in December 23rd with all her friends and family, but they know we're already officially married, and there's nothing they can do about it.
Wow.
Yeah. I made sure of that.
Wow.
I made sure of that because the problem was if we decided to get married in Australia, we get there on the 8th, but don't get married to the 23rd. That's 2 weeks they have to convince her not to do this.
Right.
See?
Right.
That's
See,
why I got married here.
You should have waited, like, I don't know, 50 years before you went to Australia. No, congratulations, Shawn. I'm very happy for you.
Thanks, man.
I'm glad. And I hope you have a good Christmas. And keep in touch when you're over there. When are you leaving?
Leaving Friday. Leaving at noon on Friday for it's a 24-hour flight.
Yes.
It's going to be hell.
Yes. Well, it's a good thing you don't smoke.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh God. And you know what? If the Loop paid me more, I could afford to upgrade my seats. But because Loop doesn't pay me much, I could only get the cheap coach seats.
Well, Jesus, that sucks. I'd talk to your boss. I mean, he sounds like a real dick.
He's a piece of work, that's for sure.
Yeah. There's no doubt about that.
All right, thanks, man.
Oh my God. All right, thanks, Shawn.
All right, bye, buddy. Have a good Christmas. Bye.
You too. Bye.
Smart ass. I was able to, just at this very moment, yell the word, "Melissa, bring me a beer." As if she would. Oh, God. Monte, I'd love for Jim to show up at my wedding. My family would freak out, and I'd owe Jim for the rest of my life. Would you want Jim showing up at your wedding? Hell yes. Jim and I have been friends for over 20 years. I think Jim is my second longest friendship. I think my friends Glenn and Susan, Glenn and Susan Thayer, the longest people I know. No, I take it back. Sly. Sly is the second longest person I've known. I've known Sly for 22 or 23 years. Thank you.
Is that your impersonation of an Australian man?
What, give me a beer? Are you coming back to do the show with us? Oh, oh, she says. Yeah, Sly, Glenn and Susan are my oldest friends. Sly is my second oldest friend. And then I think Jim would be my third oldest. So, folks, if those are your four oldest friends, you've led a pretty good life. If you can have Glenn and Susan and Sly and Jim as friends, you're doing something right. No doubt about that. Oh, let's do this right away. This is the wonderful. Speaking of accidentally speaking of the Gares, the wonderful Susan Gare did this for us. Merry Christmas to Shawn, Melissa, and Rory, your friends Greg, Logan, and Susan Gare. Thank you very much, Susan. That's so sweet of you to do that. And then, of course, Logan had to toss his 2 cents in, and Logan write, "Merry frickin' Christmas." He's a jaded little. Turn your microphone on.
I want my phone, please.
You want your phone right now? Immediately? Oh, my goodness. There's your phone.
Thank you.
Your microphone on?
Yes.
Okay, good. So thanks very much to the Gares. Hopefully they have a wonderful Christmas. And again, remind you guys, send us into your Shawn and your Mac Life Shawn at yourmaclifeshow.com. Your Christmas videos, your Hanukkah videos, your Festivus videos, your whatever, holiday greeting. Let me know your name, where you live, and then just say hello to the Your Mac Life audience, hello to family and friends, hello to me and my lovely new bride, Melissa, whoever you would like to say hello to. Send those videos off to me, Shawn at yourmaclifeshow.com. Macman says, Shawn, did you get your Australian ETA yet? And do you know where your passport is? Screw you, pal! Look at that. Within arm's reach.
For now.
Yours. What do you mean for now? What are you going to be? Oh, my
Anyway,
God.
I'm not taking any responsibility for your passport.
Unbelievable. And I got it in. Look, you see that? I got a nice red folder.
Ooh, fluorescent red.
First red folder, and it's got spots for business cards, and there's even a spot here for bail. ETA. Good question. Melissa, you leave at about the same time I do, right? We're both leaving at around.
I leave around 2-ish.
1 o'clock, 2 on Friday. I leave at 1:10 on Friday, December 8th. I get into Hong Kong at, I guess this must be Hong Kong time because I'm looking at the itinerary. It says 7:10 Hong Kong time, but it's a 14-hour flight.
Right.
Then there's a looks like a 2-3 hour layover, 2.5 hour layover in Hong Kong. I leave Hong Kong on Saturday the 9th, Saturday morning at 21:25. So that's 9:25. So 9. No. Oh. Fuck. I leave Vancouver. Oh, there it is. I leave Vancouver once. Shut up. It's hard to figure out.
It doesn't really matter, though.
I leave Vancouver at 1:10 p.m. Vancouver time.
Right.
I arrive at 7:10 p.m. Hong Kong time the next day. That's
right.
what's messing me up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then at 7:10. Then I leave Hong Kong Saturday evening at 9:25 and get into Sydney Sunday morning at 9:35.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my brother said, "See you Sunday," and I went, "Huh? Oh, okay, right."
It's functionally for us for our
That's
time.
right, Monty.
A 2-day flight. What's right, Monty?
We crashed the international date line.
And the equator.
And the equator.
I've always wanted to stand on the international date line and the equator. You can't because it's in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah.
But it'd be I don't know why. That'd be kind of cool.
You'll be in it like for a moment. You might be right there for that moment.
For some reason that seems to be kind of freaky. So yeah, that's.
So is that you whose passport expired 3 days before they left for Japan? Oh
no.
Okay,
no.
Macman's talking about someone else.
No, it's definitely not me. I always make sure when I'm traveling like that, my passport is well in advance of when I'm supposed to.
Okay, good.
So yes, send us those videos, your holiday videos, and again, if you're holiday shopping, please come to our website, yourmaclifeshow.com first, and click on any one of the links on the left-hand side. And even if you don't buy that thing that you clicked on, Amazon will track your session, and any purchases you make, we get a bit of a kicker. It's literally like pennies, but if enough of you do it, it starts to add up for a while. So I appreciate that. There's still time to get us Christmas gifts too, wedding gifts. You want to send us? We've literally, and Melissa was appalled when I first said this. Literally asked her family for money for wedding gifts. You did do that, right?
I did do it.
And if only because, at our age, we don't need blenders. We got pots and pans. We got cutlery.
Mm-hmm.
We got a gravy boat. There's nothing we really need. But the other issue, too, is that if they give us physical objects, we got to transport them back across the Pacific.
We do.
And that's just a giant pain in the butt.
Money's much easier to transport.
Money is much easier to smuggle. By the way, you guys, oh my God. Again, we're not superstitious, so I've seen my new wife's ceremony dress. Holy crap. It's beautiful.
Is it beautiful?
Oh
Good.
my God. I can't. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to take pictures and be in the ceremony at the same time. Because I'm going to want to take pictures of you in that beautiful dress. It's a gorgeous dress.
It is.
You look spectacular in that dress.
Thank you, my love. Thank you.
And I'm not just saying that because I'm married to you.
I know.
So that's on December 23rd. We will be again, if you want to keep track of us, you can follow me on Twitter. I don't recommend it. You can follow me. You can try to follow me on Facebook. I don't recommend it. Send me an email to Shawn at yourmaclifeshow.com, and I'll add you to our mailing list. And when I post stuff, I'll let you know. I'm most likely going to post most things to Diary of a Madman, DOAMM. And the idea is I want to shoot some video. I want to do some audio with Anchor. I want to basically, thanks very much to the best wife ever who got me a great wedding gift. She got me the iPhone 10. Oh my God. Oh my. And as I was saying earlier, I'd forgotten how live photos worked. And it's can't make it work. If you press her boob in just the right way. Well, it's true. If you do, watch. So, look at that. She loves to do that in real life too. If you just press the boob, she does. That's how.
I do not.
You do too.
I do not.
Cinnamon.
It's cinnamon.
Mosquito.
Yes.
Stop pressing the boob.
Stop pressing the boob. Nice finger placement, says me.
I'd forgotten how fun live photos were. I'd never seen a live photo except for a demo. I'd never seen it on the phone. And it's kind of funny when I showed Rory, the 12-year-old, that I told him it was a Hogwarts phone because it looks kind of Hogwarty, doesn't it? With remember the stuff in Harry Potter?
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
That's what Monty's saying. That's exactly what I said.
It was very Harry Potter. Daily Prophet. There you go. So yeah, I'm looking forward to putting the iPhone through its paces. I'll be doing a review afterwards. I'll be reviewing stuff while we're there. But first impressions of the iPhone is it's not as grippy, doesn't have the gription, as Bill Reynolds would say, as, and Melissa and I both agree with this, as the iPhone 6 Plus. But if your hands are even slightly moist, it does. You didn't notice this. We both ran our fingers along the iPhone 10 and the iPhone 6 Plus, and we both agreed the iPhone 6 Plus seemed to be a little grippier, which is upsetting to me because I find the iPhone 6 Plus to be a very, very slippery phone. But the iPhone 10, while it's slipperier, wow.
More slippery.
Thank you. More slippery. Sorry, what? More slippery?
More slippery.
More slippy?
More slippery.
More slippery? Than the iPhone 6 Plus. If my hands are even slightly moist, there's more of a tacky sensation to it.
Oh, so you need to be nervous all the time when you're using it.
Not even nervous, just natural oils in your hands. So if I've washed my hands, and when you wash your hands, you wash all that natural oil off, I find the iPhone very, very slippery.
It slides easier, says Monty.
What?
It slides easier.
It slides easier.
Slides.
I think Monty's making an innuendo there.
I think he is.
Melissa was very disappointed in Face ID. Why?
Very.
Into the microphone.
Well, I'm silly. It is in the microphone. I feel silly saying it. Well, because I really thought that, especially at the middle of the night, the infrared thing impressed me. And I thought that you would just be all sleepy and groggy and just hold your phone up and it would just open up to your little desktop right there. But it doesn't. And I was very disappointed.
Now, why did you think that?
Because the ads told me so.
Isn't that interesting? Because the ads told you so. And, Mosquito, did I miss any Holly videos? No, Mo. Those Holly videos aren't going up until a couple weeks. The ads don't make it obvious that what you need to do, when you read the reviews, you know this. For those folks who don't know, when the iPhone 10 is off, as you pick it up, you flick the bottom of the screen, and Face ID works almost instantaneously. If you pick the iPhone up, look at it, Face ID opens, and then you flick up. That's obviously a much longer process and a bigger pain in the ass. So you have to kind of practice doing that, picking it up and flicking at the same time, which is, I agree, not as elegant as Touch ID. No. Touch ID, where I can put my my thumb on the phone as I pick it up, and by the time it gets here, there's no other actions I need to do with Touch ID. It's just on there and pick it up. That being said, Face ID does work in a number of ways that I was surprised. First of all, it doesn't work upside down.
It doesn't work if I'm kissing you and you're trying to open the phone at the same time.
Doesn't work then.
Mm-hmm.
And I say it doesn't work upside down as a joke, except for the fact that I'm constantly grabbing the phone in the wrong orientation. That's one of the downsides of it. At least with the iPhone, with the Touch ID iPhone, you'd reach for the phone and you'd find the button at the bottom.
Mm.
So if it was upside down and you reached for the phone and didn't find the button, you immediately flipped it around and found the button. But with this one, if you pick it up the wrong way, you don't know until you lift it up and go, oh, crap, it's upside down. And then you got to flip it. It's a minor annoyance, but it's an annoyance. And the other aspect about it, and Melissa hasn't even noticed this, I think it's because you haven't used the phone very much.
No, you haven't let it go.
Is hold your iPhone up. Do you see the camera? Look at the camera back of your iPhone and the camera back of mine.
Mm-hmm.
There's this thing called a notch on mine, which is significantly bigger than the notch on yours. There's a big
yes,
hump
I see.
there.
Yeah.
And while the hump isn't a huge deal, it is noticeable. And if nothing else, I find it annoying because I didn't know I did this. I tend to put my phone down on a table and spin it.
Yes, you
I
do.
spin the iPhone, just a little, not a nervous habit, but just a little fidget. It's a $1,000 fidget toy. And spin it. But I don't want to spin it because that's where your lenses are. I don't want to spin the lenses of the camera. I don't want to scratch that spot up. I don't have a case for it yet. You're not going to put a case on your iPhone, are you?
On this one? No.
And why not?
No.
Even though it's a much, Melissa's moving from a 5S to a 6 Plus.
No, it's good the way it is.
You think?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't want to put a case on my iPhone, but I think I'm going to.
Yeah.
But only because I can call up all the case manufacturers and I can test out their cases.
Right.
I like it without the case, but I'll test out cases just for that reason. There's not a lot that for some reason, and I see this from a lot of other people who aren't bothered. Let me just find a website here. Who aren't bothered by that white line at the bottom, the home screen indicator. I get the notch. The notch is there. It's annoying, but I understand why it's there. So I don't have much of a problem with the notch at the top of the screen. When you're at the home screen, it's a little more obvious, and with other apps, it's less obvious. But that white line or gray line or black line, depending on the screen you're looking at, drives me nuts. I don't know why it bothers me so much. And I haven't heard any other reviewer mention the white line. But to me, it really ticks me off that it's there. I don't need it. It only does one thing, and that's when you flip up, it goes to the home screen.
But we discovered something else. What did we... There was something else that you used it for.
Let me finish this. So the white line's at the bottom, the gray line's at the bottom, the black line's at the bottom for one reason and one reason only. It only does one thing. And that's when you flip up, it goes back to your home screen.
Mm-hmm.
So why have a white line there? Why does the customer need to be constantly reminded that flipping up goes back to the home page? What we're talking about is, for some reason, Apple has switched. That used to be that flick up
center.
Was Control Center. Now you go in the upper right-hand corner and you flick down and you get Control Center. Why did Apple change that? What was wrong with having the Control Center stay where it was? And if you need to go to the home page, do the flick down.
Mm.
Why change that action for no good reason? You taught people that flicking up gets you the Control Center. So unless you needed to change that for a good reason, don't change it. You taught them to do it this way. Don't try to unteach them the other way.
Mm.
But Apple did. And like I said, I find the line at the bottom on all my apps just really distracting and annoying. It's also doesn't have as much screen real estate as Apple says, and I'll explain that stuff later. So Yeah, the Macman, the lack of landscape mode on the 10 is kind of lame, and I agree with that. When you turn it sideways, when you're watching videos, for example, it should expand the whole screen. But if it did, then you'd have in your video, you'd have this notch in your video, so it doesn't go that. So there's a few issues right there that are just minor annoyances. I haven't put it through its paces, especially the camera. I haven't done much AR yet. I think the camera and the AR are the big things. Live photos, which I had forgotten about, is kind of fun. And 3D touch, I don't much care about, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. But all of this brought to a head, I think, on Monday, when I found out the disturbing news that for some odd, bizarre reason, my new bride, my lovely, gorgeous, red-headed, green-eyed, spectacularly beautiful new bride, hid the charger for my Nikon D600. I don't know why she's done this. I don't know what jealousy issues she has. Why she hates my Nikon D600, I don't know. But the problem is, I can't charge the battery on the D600. Are you going to defend yourself at all? Are you going to let me sit here and talk smack about you? All right, fine. If that's what you want, if you want the audience to think that about you, then I can't.
It's not like I haven't been looking and helping you do the search. And
it's driving me nuts.
Oh,
it's driving me nuts.
But I don't have a history of losing things. The rest of us know the truth. Oh, Monty. See, Monty's just right there. It was, I finished my sentence. Boom. Oh, my God. And MacMan says it rubs off.
It's certainly possible. It's weird. I've got this charger. Unfortunately, the D600, you can't plug it into your computer and charge it via USB. It's got a separate charger, so you take the battery, put it in the charger, no big deal. But because the battery of that camera lasts forever, I can go shooting for a whole weekend and never run out of battery life. The charger never goes anywhere. There's always here, usually plugged in to the wall. Somehow it disappeared, and neither Melissa or I know where it is. We've been looking all over the place, and our little home is not that big. No idea where it is. So on Monday, I started to think about, because I got the iPhone 10 on Saturday. I started to think, could I go to Australia and just use this camera? Would that be possible? It's a good camera. We all know that. It can be considered to be a great camera for some people in some situations. But could I, as nominally a professional photographer, give up the power, the flexibility, the creativity of a full-sized, full-frame, professional Nikon D600? And I agonized it over all day Monday, trying to think, could I do this? Could I do this? Could I get... Because, as I said before, in my classes and to you guys, to become a good photographer, one of the things you need to do is envision your images. So I'm sitting here in Gibson's, British Columbia, envisioning the kind of pictures I want to take in Australia. I can see in my mind's eye the koala picture I want to take. I know the Sydney Opera House picture I want to take. I know the images I want to take of Melissa. I can imagine the beach photos I want to take. And as I imagine those, I know what the settings are. I know what the settings are of that beach photo. I'm going to shoot at f22, at either sunrise or sunset with my ISO. I know what the settings are going to be. So when I get there, boom, 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 take a picture, done. I don't know that with regards to the iPhone. One of the other things I tell people about becoming a better photographer is you actually take fewer photos. You waste a lot less time figuring the camera out in order to take the pictures. So I can look at a scene, I can see the light, I can go, okay, this is what I need to do, boom, Nikon, click, done. But with the iPhone, I'm going to have to spend a lot of time trying to get the exact right photo. And I don't want to waste that time when I'm with family and friends. So that's what makes me a little reticent about that. So then I decided on Tuesday, you know what? I'm not going to take just the iPhone. I can't get the shots I envision with just the iPhone, especially in situations where I don't want to bring the iPhone. In wet conditions, the Nikon D600 is weather resistant, so I could take it on a boat. I could take it out in the rain. I ain't doing that. Yes, the iPhone's water resistant, but I ain't doing it anyway. So I'm thinking we keep looking for the charger. If we can't find it, then I'm going to bring along the Olympus M1. It's a DSLR as well, so it's got a bunch of lenses, but it's a mirrorless camera, so it's significantly smaller than the Nikon D600, which is both good and bad. It's good. It's good in the sense that it's lighter, so less stuff to lug around. It's good in the sense that it's small enough that Melissa can use it quite easily, and so can Rory. Rory's shot
He likes
some
to
nice
use
shots
it.
with this camera. The downside is, for me, it's a little too small. It feels like a toy camera, although it's not. It's a good, solid, hefty camera. But the buttons for my hands feel too cramped. Plus, I'm not nearly as familiar with this camera as I am with my Nikon D600. So I'm going to spend, if I take this, I'm going to spend the entire flight reading the manual and watching YouTube videos and figuring out how to use this camera. But I'll still worry about not getting the shots that I envision with this camera. Now, MacMan says, if it was me going, I'd rather take an extra 15 pounds of camera gear and it never gets used and stand there kicking myself in the ass when I miss that photo of the Sydney Opera House at night. Mm-hmm. And that's a good point. Mm-hmm. But there's got to be a point where you've got to have confidence in yourself as a photographer and say, I can still get that shot with this camera. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You've got, and this is part of this dance I've been doing in my head. It's that one side of me that says, are you as good a photographer as you think you are? Because I've always said the gear doesn't matter. What's important is the photographer. Gear matters in certain situations, but most of the time it doesn't matter. And this is a good camera. So, Shawn, if you're as good as you think you are, you should get good shots with a good camera. So that's why I'm leaning towards taking this. Now, I'm not going to take just this lens. This is the 12 to 40 lens. I'm going to take this wonderful 75-300 lens for when we're at the zoo and at the aquarium, and I can get good animal pictures, and a 75mm portrait lens for shooting pictures of Melissa's family, because I know she's going to want good pictures of the family. And then I might take this walking around lens. This is a 14-150 walking around lens, which was good for just the tourist kind of shots. So that's why I'm leaning. I'm leaning towards taking the M1. The M1 with a couple of these lenses still weighs less than the Nikon D600. The D600, I've only got the one lens, but I'm okay with that because I'm good at shooting with the one lens. I know how that lens works. I know what the conditions are for that lens, so I don't go outside of its performance envelope. And I've got the iPhone. So I think with the iPhone, the M1, and those extra lenses, I can get away with creating the shot that I imagine. Plus, I tested this afternoon. The M1 doesn't have a hot shoe flash, so I'll be bringing along this Yonggu flash that also works with the M1. So I think that's going to be the way I'll go. I know for a fact, though, if we find that charger tomorrow, I'm taking the 600. In a heartbeat, I'll take the 600.
Yeah, see, that's what, that's what Monty says. You're just rationalizing all of this because you can't find the charger that you misplaced.
No, and you know what? Part of it's just sheer vanity. Well, I feel like a professional photographer when I'm carrying the D600. I feel like a tourist carrying this.
Oh, so
isn't that awful?
It's a photo ego thing.
It really is. I'm not too proud to admit that.
Think of the National Geographic guy that took the Polaroid. Can you imagine how he felt?
That's right. I think part of the issue too is if I brought the 600, I'd still bring the M1 for Melissa and Rory.
I like using that one.
Yeah, you like this one. Rory likes using it. So I'd probably still bring this camera anyway, just because of allowing Melissa and Rory, the 12-year-old, to shoot with it. Photo booth. P booth says, remember to take an international plug adapter. We've already done that.
I've got our plug adapters.
What else should we bring? Anyone else got any other suggestions? I know I've got backup cards. We've got a beach camera, the Olympus Tough camera, which is our underwater camera. We have got snorkels. We've got snorkels and face masks and swim fins. Mm-hmm. And we're going to go body surfing.
Oh, yes.
I'm also going to be bringing my, it's not a Fitbit, but my Fitbit equivalent. Take that out of there so you can see it.
We're taking a Frisbee.
Taking a Frisbee. No, we're not taking a Frisbee. We're taking an Aerobee.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Flying ring. I'm going to bring this little fitness thing to track walking and that kind of stuff. Tomorrow, Thursday, Melissa has the day off. I'll take the day off, and I'm personally going to pack electronics. I've got 2 backup batteries for gear for the iPhone. For the iPhone and the iPads that we bring. Are you bringing your iPad?
Well, Jasper, yes. Mm-hmm.
So, and Rory has an iPad.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 2 iPads.
Mm-hmm.
Your 2 phones.
Mm-hmm.
So she's got 4 iOS devices. I'm bringing my iPad and my phone. That's 6 iOS devices between 4 of us. 2 cameras. A laptop.
Rory has his little camera.
3 cameras. A laptop. Batteries. I'm going to have more electronics packed than I'm going to have clothes.
Well, I'll pack some. I'll take some. So what's all this, the Mac man saying external drive or large flash drive for backing up the photographs? Yes. Okay.
Where is it? Can you see a red rectangular rectangle box there?
Do I dare go back there? I'll get blamed for something.
Is there a red one back there?
I don't see anything red.
Anyway, that's okay. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I've got a 2 terabyte backup drive for photos and for the laptop. MacMan, have you one of those USB battery packs? I have 2 of those battery packs, a big one and a smaller one.
Mm-hmm.
Mosquito says, Shawn, if you're only bringing phones to take pictures, how would you back them up? Assume limited bandwidth for iCloud example. Easy. Flickr. Remember Flickr gives all users a terabyte of backup data and backup photos, and so I would back up my photos I do back up all my photos to Flickr, so that wouldn't be a problem. And still connectivity bandwidth. Assume limited bandwidth. Well, there's no reason to assume limited bandwidth though, because we're going to be at home and or Starbucks and or, as Melissa always reminds me, they have running water in Australia.
I told them they have flushing toilets and everything.
Flushing toilets, yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think bandwidth is going to be an issue, especially if you can do stuff overnight. I can set my iPhone to upload to Flickr overnight, so I'm not worried about bandwidth from that point of view. I'm worried about backups of data. So I will be dumping stuff onto both the laptop and also the backup hard drives on a regular basis. Got an email from the handsome, the lovely, the charming Scott in the Long Island Macintosh user group. He says, mixed bag. Hi, Melissa and Shawn. Yes, you each get one of these. First, I want to say that Melissa is a great addition to the show.
Oh, thank you.
Shawn is correct. Melissa adds the view of the average user, which is very important. Also, she asks questions I think many listeners have as well. Melissa, you have a really nice speaking voice and are a pleasure to listen to.
Oh, thank you.
Isn't that nice?
That is so nice.
Shawn, I have adult children. They both have turned out to be good, kind, generous adults with good values. I did not hit my children, but I did have to restrain them at times. Now, here's what I think is really important. Trust your children. If you have spent time talking to them and setting the right examples, they will emulate what they see. That's what you call modeling in therapy, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
They will most times make the correct choices. Yes, once in a while they would screw up, but haven't we all? My younger son wanted his own computer for his bar mitzvah. We always had Apple and Macs. He wanted a Windows PC because he wanted to learn that system as well. I would have just disowned him. He had the computer in his room, and I always trusted him with it. In fact, when nasty stuff would show up in a chat room, he went to something else. Now, if boys want to look at, you know what, even before computers, they could get tapes of nasty stuff. The positive side, he learned how to write DOS commands in a very short time. He learned how to do video and audio production on both platforms. I know you guys will have a great time in Australia. Come back with some great stories. I can absolutely see and hear the love between the two of you, and I'm truly happy for both of you.
That's so nice.
One thing I've written to Shawn about several times is the fact that iPhones and other smartphones are no longer subsidized by the carriers. For quite a while, when you only had to pay $200 and the carrier paid the remainder, I got most of the iPhones for my family for free or very close to it. They would always buy back the old phones for $200 or very close. So the most I can remember paying is about $20 for a phone. Now, for just my wife and me, it would cost an extra $70 to $80 per month to buy the phones. That does not include the monthly carrier fees. For that reason, we'll probably keep our iPhone 7s as long as we can before upgrading, and then do the same with the next ones. From the sales numbers, this does not seem to bother others that much, with 6 million more iPhone 10s. But in some articles I've read, the purchase of smartphones is down a few percent. Anyway, I would like to know how many others will be upgrading less often because of this. Best wishes to you both. Scott, Long Island Macintosh User Group. Thank you, Scott. That was a very sweet email.
Thank you.
From you. I appreciate
Really?
this. Yeah, he's right from that point of view. And I'm not saying I'm going to hit Rory. I'm not. I like to threaten him. I like to be able to threaten him. But threats don't work unless you're going to go through with it, and I'm not going to go through with it. So don't think I'm advocating beating up poor little Rory. He's a 12-year-old boy. He can be very, very frustrating. He's not a bad kid. In no way, shape, or form is Rory Beck. He does great in school.
He does.
He's got great friends.
Yeah.
He is the issue for me is that he's wonderful out in public. He's wonderful when his friends come over. He's wonderful to other people. He can be a shit to you. Mm-hmm. He's never a shit to me. I think he thinks I'll hit him, and I want him to think that. But yeah, he can be. He challenges mom. And this is what 12-year-olds do. Mm-hmm. They challenge their boundaries. What they're allowed to do. Well, I know one of your frustrations is every single morning you have to go through the exact same things. Every single morning. Rory, get up. Get your cereal. Put the bowls away. Put the milk away. Go brush your teeth. Put your socks on. Every morning. It's the exact same thing. You'd think it'd be rote by now for him.
Oh, he knows how to do it.
He knows how to do it.
Yeah.
But you still got to remind him multiple times. And that's really frustrating for you. It's a huge waste of your time, too.
If there's a friend with him, he's up and
Oh,
ready.
yeah. That's right.
Oh.
So, what?
Logan is telling you, there's no beating up children. So that's coming from Logan. And I think Logan's 12, isn't he?
Yeah, because he don't want to get beat up. That's why he's saying that.
Oh, I love that. A squirt bottle works wonders for getting kids out of bed. MacMan says that.
I asked if I could pour water on him. You said no.
Well, I'm getting there. And then Monty says he's 12. He's supposed to be frustrating. His hormones are frustrating him. It's true.
And that's absolutely true. Yeah,
yes.
that's, we do cut him some slack.
Yeah.
But there's some things you got to expect him at 12 to be able to do on his own.
That's right.
Without having to be reminded 17 times.
That's right.
The other issue is that he's addicted to the Xbox.
Yeah, but we're limited. Wednesday nights are his treat night.
Yes,
because show night. But
right, show night. No, he is. I don't want anyone to think that he's not a great kid. That we don't love him to death. Well, she loves him more than I do. I like him a lot. I'm not at love yet. I'll get there eventually.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. I slammed his hand in the door the other day. So
after he said he loved you. How awful is that? Love you. Boom! And then he slammed his hand in the door. Oh, my God. It's just awful.
I felt so bad. It's just the way he was leaving the house. And it was really cold outside. So jokingly, I was throwing him outside. I was going to slam the door behind us because I was going out with him to walk him down to the end of the stairs. But the way he had his hand in the door, and I went to slam the door, and I caught his hand in the door. Oh, I felt so bad. Don't tell him that, but I felt so bad.
He was just a mess.
He was devastated. Part of it was just the shock and the surprise and the pain. You get your hand slam the door, it's the pain. But yeah, poor guy. So Scott, thank you very much for that email. I
Yes.
appreciate it, but that was a very sweet email.
Very.
We're out of here, folks. We are going. We got stuff to do.
Yes.
We got 36
A little strung
hours.
out.
Little stressed, little bit stressed. Poor Melissa. Send all your thoughts and prayers to poor Melissa. I can take it. I'll be grumpy and cranky in 24 hours. Poor Melissa is flying out of Vancouver International Airport to Los Angeles, California, to Sydney, Australia, and then on to Newcastle, Australia, with 2 small boys, with a 12-year-old and a little hyperactive 9-year-old, who, it must be said, tends to wander off.
Yes, he does.
Rory's a good kid. He'll stay with Mom. He'll stay within arm's reach. But poor little Jasper tends to lose focus of where he is and just sort of drift off. Mm-hmm. His parents have told us he does this.
Oh, I've seen him. He's been with me and done it.
My biggest nightmare is literally losing him in Australia and having him come back 10 years later with an accent.
It's warm there. He'll be fine if he lives on the streets.
And I'm bigger than his dad, so I'm not
He'll
worried
be all
about him
right.
kicking my ass.
Yeah, whatever.
Sorry we lost your kid.
We know. Yeah. Oh, no.
But the stress on you of trying to keep track of and entertain 2 little boys is going to be tremendous.
Yeah, GPS tracker. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know what? I was thinking about one of those. Getting one of those trackers and putting it in his pocket.
Yep.
You know what? If you see any at the airport, I think it might be a good idea to buy one.
Mm-hmm.
Some kind of GPS tracker. And, they cost $20. Just attach it to them or, I don't think it's a bad idea.
No.
I really don't. Because he means well. He's a nice kid.
Oh, he's a great. I love him. Yeah.
But yeah, he will. If you don't watch him constantly, he could just wander off.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna have a lot of fun. As I said, we're already planning on taking the boys on a jet boat ride in Sydney Harbor. We're gonna go feed sharks at the aquarium. We're gonna have breakfast with koala bears, which is sorry. Breakfast with koalas, which is just the most exciting thing. We're gonna go quad riding around the sand dunes of Newcastle. We're going to see family and friends that Melissa hasn't seen in 20 years. We're going to be lying on the beach, not suntanning.
No, we'll be frisbeeing and walking and doing photography.
Melissa doesn't suntan. You should see the stuff she puts on. It's SPF 5000.
Oh, it is not.
It's functional paint. That's what it is. It's paint. It just covers your skin in a thick layer of paint. Well, I have to wear that zinc green stuff with that green zinc.
If you want to.
Can I?
Yeah.
I
you can wear it on your nose, put it on your lips, put your hat on. You look like a real Aussie.
I actually want to wear the green.
We could even get your hat with strings with corks hanging off it.
No, that's stupid.
That's for the flies.
What is that for? Wait, what?
The flies.
Is that what that's for?
That's the Great Australian Salute. This is the Great Australian Salute. That's what it's called, the Great Australian Salute.
I didn't realize that's what the corks were for. Were for the flies.
Oh yeah. So the flies don't come on your face.
That's hilarious.
All the time.
I had no idea.
You're gonna want corks by the end of it.
No, it's going in the water. It's going in the water. For those of you like Monty who are freezing his ass off in Atlanta, Georgia,
Ew.
it is for those people who use metric system. It is 32 degrees in Newcastle today. When we get there on Sunday, it'll be a chilly 24, going back up to 28 by the time Wednesday rolls around. For those folks in America, that is 89 degrees today for the high and 83 degrees on Wednesday. So yes, we are going to have a good time. And again, send us an email.
Sorry. Sorry, I'm laughing at Monty because he hates you.
But you went on a cruise to the Caribbean last week, so shut up.
Right.
Send us an email to onair@yourmaclifeshow.com or Shawn at yourmaclifeshow.com. I'll add you to the mailing list if you want to get notified of when we do video or Periscope or all that kind of new media, social media kind of stuff. Oh, and again, if you're shopping this Christmas on Amazon, please go to our website, Amazon.com. And to go through Amazon.com. And we always appreciate you guys, any subscriptions you do. Remember, you can subscribe to Your Mac Life by going to the website at yourmaclifeshow.com. Right there on the left-hand side, you can subscribe for $2, $5, $10, $15 a month, whatever you so choose. And that goes into our PayPal account, comes out of your PayPal account or your major credit card, and we'll use that money to go pet koala bears. Damn it! Go pet koalas. I have no intention of getting near a kangaroo, by the way.
No, I know. I already. Yeah,
I've heard they're nasty, smelly.
No.
Beasts. I just want to get punched in the face by.
No, you'll see the little wallabies. You'll like the little wallabies. They're smaller, and the wombats.
Those
and you'll see the kookaburras, and
the magpies. You're looking forward to the magpies.
And the oh yes, looking forward.
I didn't realize that North American magpies sound completely different from Australian magpies. North American magpies just screech. They make an awful noise.
Yeah. The magpies in Australia have this sing-song that comes from their throat. It's beautiful.
It's very pretty. So do a search on YouTube for Australian magpies and do a comparison between the two. So if you subscribe to Your Mac Life, we'll use the money to pay for stuff in Australia. As always, I want to say thanks very much to our good friend Jim Dalrymple of The Loop. I want to say thanks very much to you guys. Another year gone here on Your Mac Life. Another great year. Thank you guys very much for sticking with us, for being here through all the good and the bad. I want to say a huge thank you to all the people, the emails, the Facebook posts, the tweets I got from people congratulating me on marrying so far out of my league. She's not even fucking listening.
Oh, I'm trying to answer people's questions about the deadly creatures. Blue-ringed octopus. Yep. I'm sorry, sweetheart. What were you saying?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Jesus. So I could not be happier married to this lovely woman. I can't wait to
so happy.
Visit her family and spend much more time with her and them and both her sons. We keep mentioning Rory, but her other son, Damon, is a spectacular photographer, folks. If you want to see some amazing photography, go to Instagram, Damon Berryman, 2 R's, 1 M, 1 N, Berryman. Photography on Instagram, just mind-blowing stuff. He just got back from a trip to Iceland and Scotland, and he made me want to throw away my cameras because he's a spectacular nature photographer. So check him out, Damon, Damon Berryman on Instagram. What?
Oh, it's just great that people are going to look. It excites me that people are looking at his.
Oh, good, yeah. Monty, I've looked
Monty
at
and
his
MacMan
Instagram stuff. It's cool. It is really, really good.
Yeah.
Really beautiful stuff. So the next show won't be until January 3rd, the first Wednesday in the new year. So up until that point, please stay in touch however you'd like, via email or via Twitter or Facebook, however you get a hold of me. I hope you all have a fantastic December. I hope you all have a great holiday season, whether it's Christmas, Merry Christmas to those who celebrate, Happy Hanukkah to our Jewish friends, Happy Festivus to you whack jobs who celebrate that one, Kwanzaa, all that kind of stuff, and a very Merry New Year. We'll be back in time for New Year. We'll have New Year's here, but we'll be having Christmas in Australia in bathing suits. Apparently Santa wears a Speedo in Australia. He's still a fat, bald guy, a bearded guy, but it's in a Speedo. That's just a disturbing mental image. I really don't. Yeah, it's just a weird thought.
Yeah.
So, folks, until next week.
Stop it, says Monty.
Until next week, as always, she's been.
Bye, everyone. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. I'm sorry. I'm very spinning out tonight. Goodbye from Mrs. King.
We'll fix that in post, folks. As always, thank you guys very much for joining us. She's been.
I've been what? You've never trained me on the I've been.
What's your name?
I'm Mrs. King.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. As always, folks, thank you very much for joining us. She's been
Mrs. King.
I've been Shawn. You've been listening to Your Mac Life. Thank you, guys. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. See ya.